Hey guys, so I thought it'd be fun to do another tier list today, just me, and I thought we'd be looking at the Synergy Burst moves from Pokken. If you don't know what Pokken is, it's the Tekken Pokemon game where you can basically play as a select amount of Pokemon, battle it out, and you've got these really cool like ultimate finishing moves that have a really cool animation. And I thought today, let's just rank these moves. I didn't really play Pokken, but if you guys did, let me know in the comments, let me know who you mained, and let's jump into the video. First up, we've got Darkrai. Now I love Darkrai as it gives me this whole weird Danganronpa yokai spooky Japanese ghost vibes. There's all these weird colorful paintings around that these arms come out of, and then suddenly Darkrai is this huge monster that just completely obliterates whichever Pokemon. This move is called Infinite Eclipse. It also gives me, you know, the Witch's Realm in Madoka Magica? Yeah, it gives me that vibe. It's called Infinite Eclipse, and I think this one's gonna be an S tier. I really like the look of this one. So next up we have Blaziken, and its burst attack is called Gatling Flame Kicks, which gives me very One Piece vibes for multiple reasons. I'm not really in love with this one. It's the first one, obviously, that has the when a Pokemon synergy bursts, if it has a Mega Evolution, it will Mega Evolve, and it's not very interesting. There's not like a whole, like there's not a lot of fire. It's very effective. A flurry of kicks followed by like a kick from above. Yeah, I don't really love it. Probably gonna go with D tier. Next up is Pikachu, and its burst attack is called Volt Shock Fist, which is immediately a little bit confusing because I'm pretty sure Pikachu doesn't punch anyone. Oh, okay, so I see Pikachu does actually get like a fist made of storm clouds. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I can see it being a punch now. What I really like about this one is Pikachu gets this blue lightning aura around him, and his cheeks and tail glow blue as well. And while it looks like it could be similar to like what happens when he uses Iron Tail, I also just think that like blue lightning is definitely the step up. This could have been Mega Pikachu if that was a thing that could happen. I think I'll give this one a B tier. Good B tier. Now, of course, Lucario's burst attack is called Aura Blast, because you know he's got to use his aura. I mean, what can I say? He has this blue aura just like we see him get in the anime. He sort of draws it out of the ground and like uses it in all these cool ways, and then he basically Kamehamehas the finishing move on whoever he's fighting. This is very cool, and I do like Lucario. Let's put that up in S tier for now. So next up is Gardevoir, and its finishing move is Fairy Tempest, although it actually looks like it's just creating a black hole. I think there's a Pokédex entry that says that Gardevoir can make a black hole if it feels like it, which is pretty crazy, and I'm pretty sure that's what's happening in this animation, where suddenly the character is teleported into space and is just obliterated by a giant ball of energy. Pretty good animation. Gonna put that in A tier. So no other Pikachu costume works as well as Pikachu Libre, except maybe Pikachu Rockstar. But yeah, Pikachu Libre definitely deserves to be here, and I really love that they just fully committed to the wrestling thing. This electrified wrestling ring is very cool, something straight out of like a fighting anime or whatever. And then it just completely body slams into its opponent, which is just great. Is it better than Pikachu's? Kind of. I'd say this is an A tier. This is an A tier. This next move is Scizor's, and Scizor uses Iron Meteor Drive. Of course, it Mega Evolves into its final Iron Man looking form. It does a little bit of a bug zip, and then it just goes full Neon Genesis, sprouts giant fantastic energy wings, and slams its opponent into the ground with a nuclear explosion. Is this the best Gundam anime? It just might be. That's gonna be, I'm gonna have to say A tier. These are all really good. Like, these are really well thought out. I would love more moves like this. And I guess we got Z moves, but this is what Z moves should have been. I don't even know what to really make of Croagunk. His final move is called Alter Ego Army. So he basically uses Double Team, but it seems like his shadow clones have some weight to them because they weigh down the Pokemon and then explode, and then he salutes. Croagunk is a very, very strange Pokemon. I'm not too sure what to make of it. I remember it being very strange in the anime as well. Why not its evolution, you know? Many questions I have as to why Croagunk is in this game, but yet here it is. Let's you know, for its weirdness, let's give it a nice solid B tier. So like, I know this is a Japanese fighting game, but these just keep getting like more and more anime. So Sceptile's move is called Forest's Flash. Firstly, he gets like these huge leaves that like jut out of the side of his arms, you know, kind of like a leaf blade thing. It's definitely cool to see him like naturally growing weapons almost. He rushes at the opponent, and then he comes back with like a claw scratch along the ground, and then boom, he's using that like, it's kind of like max overgrow, where it's like all these vines lines and it's entangling, and then like, oh, very cool, just very cool. Man, can S tier, can they just all be an S tier? Because this one was another really cool case of it mega evolving and just doing a really cool move. I don't know how they got Blaziken so lame and Sceptile so cool. This is definitely like a B tier, maybe an A tier, an A tier. I'm gonna give it an A tier. Gengar's move is another move that's like literally just sending you to the Shadow Realm. It's called Shadow Drop, and basically what it does is it traps you in a ball of energy, lifts you into the sky, and then drops you into its mouth, and then it becomes you. I feel like you're just dead. I feel like you come out of that move without a soul. Whichever Pokemon you use that gets beaten by this move is that's it. No soul anymore. I love that it's got its mega, and it's just showing how creepy it is with the extra eye. Why does it have an extra eye? Nobody knows. Very creepy. That's gotta be, oh, I hate to say it, that's gotta be an S tier. Like, come on, man, these are all so good. I don't want to put anything like lower. Maybe I'll move things around in the end, but like, damn, I don't want to move anything right now. I don't know how I'm supposed to rank these fairly anymore. I really don't. Like, that was beautiful. I just watched Decidueye use its move Shining Arrow. That what it's called? Shining Feather, right? It lifts up the Pokemon into this tornado of leaves, and then Robin Hood perfectly hits the target in the middle of this tornado, knocking it out. That's just amazing. That's just brilliant. It's amazing that some of these Pokemon don't even need to mega evolve, and their moves are just so amazing. It's not the most flashy, but it's like, I'd say it's a B tier. This one's definitely a B tier for Decidueye. Up next is Machamp with Dynamic Fury, and this is definitely a Gum Gatling that's happening right here. It goes red, which honestly I think could just be Machamp's mega and nobody would be mad, because if it just turned red from pure anger and energy, I think that would be pretty cool. And then it just punches. And I mean, I guess we got Gmax, and Gmax kind of like also had like red in its elements, so maybe this was sort of like an approximation of what we were gonna get. But a red Machamp is just so cool. And even though its move is just kind of doing a lot of punches, it's still easily like let's say a B tier, right? Like, it would be a C, but I think it gets moved up because like it looks so cool in red. But before I continue, I want to know, what Pokemon would you have liked to have seen in Pokkén Tournament? Let me know down in the comments. I thought I was watching a Magic Girl anime for a little bit when I watched this one. This is just crazy. So it's the same kind of trapping in the ball thing, but it's done very differently. I mean, it's done using a magic wand and like these ribbons or whatever. And then your opponent just gets turned into fireworks. I know you see them flop out of it afterwards, but in my mind, that Pokemon just gets mentally and physically turned into fireworks for a little bit. And that's pretty cool. I don't want to rank this one too highly. I don't know why. This was definitely a moment where like Delphox fans were like, what? Why is it just a Braixen? Like, why didn't it evolve? And this is why. This is why, because Braixen is just so much cooler and this move is just so much better. I like it. I don't think it's the most amazing thing. It's gotta be a C tier. Empoleon's move is called Deep Blue Monarch, and I just love it because when you look at Empoleon, you don't think of it as this thing that's gonna be able to like swiftly move around. It is a penguin after all, but it makes this whirlpool and it like makes like the ocean come out of nowhere. I'm just watching this Charizard drown and it's like, you're in my world now and I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna drown you and you're gonna be dead. And that's what Empoleon is doing here. And for that, I have to give it so much credit. I'm going to give it an A tier. I don't really know what to say about Mewtwo's Synergy Burst here. So it's called Psy Disaster, and I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. Looks like first it stops time, then it enters the void. I like that it's sort of got the two bubbles, kind of like a reference to the first movie, but it's kind of weird. Like it kind of looks like time is frozen and the fight just sort of stops. Also, I'm not a big fan of Mewtwo X, so for the sake of not having anything low down on this list, and just because I feel like the move's very boring, I'm probably gonna put this one in C tier. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I just watched Suicune die and its soul leave its body in Chandelure's like seance that it just held. This move is called Final Flicker because it was the final flicker of life from Suicune. Suicune is now dead because this Pokemon has taken its life. And damn, that was kind of scary. If I was playing a game of Pokken and I didn't know that that was what that move was going to do to me, I would be very genuinely scared. This was like an outtake from a horror movie. Pokemon can go really dark when it wants to. Oh man, I don't want to, but I'm such a sucker for these dark, edgy moves. Can we put it in S tier, please? So I really like the inclusion of Suicune because it's the only quadrupedal Pokemon, as far as I can see, that's in this game. And that's super interesting to go like, oh yeah, this is how this fights. I also just love its 3D design. Like they actually gave it like a crystal headpiece, and that's something we haven't really seen like iterated in the games or anime. So just 10 out of 10 on appearance alone. But then it does its move. Now it sort of starts looking like it's going to purify the water and maybe some water-based attack because this is a water type, but it does something with crystals. And for me, crystals feel a lot more like an ice or even rock type move. So I don't really love this as a move, maybe just for Suicune Suicune specifically, which it's gonna knock it down a little bit. I'm gonna probably put this one in D tier because I just feel like they could have done better with Suicune, and it's such a shame because, like I said, I really like Suicune's design in this game. So Weavile is up next, and it gets a move called Sonic Slash. Now, what I really was surprised by with this move is that it sort of looks like it gives itself ice armor, and honestly, again, that could just be its Mega Evolution, right? It even looks like it gets like a signature like little tuft of feather, or like the ice around its neck looks like it's a very specific detail. Honestly, would have loved to have seen this. Whoa, when are we getting the Pokken anime? That would be pretty cool. That's another video. I really like this move because it incorporates the ice type and the dark type very well. I don't know why it's called Sonic Slash, because Sonic Slash makes me think more confusion or sound-based moves, but it's still very cool, and this looks very cool. I want to rank it really highly because I like that it's using its ice type like defensively, but it's using its dark type offensively. It's not the most flashy thing, but it gets the job done. I'm gonna say it's a nice B tier again for this one. So Charizard's up with its burst attack, Searing Blaze. Now, of course, it's going to evolve into the Dragon type Charizard, Mega Charizard X, which is pretty cool. I do like Mega Charizard X, but I'm more of a Mega Charizard Y fan. And it basically uses this move where it launches out a bunch of dragon energy, tears through the ground, and releases probably more dragon area from the crack underneath, defeating the opponent. I like it, but much like Mega Blaziken, it just feels like it's over too quick and something that doesn't really encompass it being a Mega. More than Blaziken, I would say, but still not as impressive. I'd probably put Charizard probably in C tier. C tier for Charizard. Let's do that. Now, Mega Garchomp's move, on the other hand, which is called Outrage Smasher, really does a good job of encompassing it being a Mega. It's a POV of you literally about to be killed by a Mega Garchomp as it slashes relentlessly into you with its scythe hands, and then it burrows into the ground. Then you switch perspectives and it's just like, yep, that's the last thing you see before you die, and I love it. Going to put that in B tier, and it's just great to see these moves like actualized so well. You know, in the main series games, we don't really get to see moves as custom animated, and just seeing these Pokemon like interact with their moves, it's like playing the anime, and that's what makes Pokken a really, really great game. And once again, Shadow Mewtwo has delivered death as it forms a Spirit Bomb and then nukes planet Earth. This is devastating. I don't know what to say. You know what amazes me about these moves is that they can be so insane, and then the battle is not over and you just go back to being normal. I'm sorry, that Pikachu is dead. There is no way it survived a continent-wide shadow move. Like, seriously, that was insanity. And of course, as one of the essentially mascot Pokemon of this game, it does make a lot of sense that it has to have such an iconic finishing move, and I think that's great. So for this one, probably an A tier. I'm sorry, I know these are all so high, but they're all so good and fun to watch. Alright, so of course there was a DLC for Pokken Tournament, and of course it included 3 Pokemon. Those Pokemon were Decidueye, Aegislash, and Blastoise. Now, of course, I've talked about Decidueye's finishing move because it was amazing, but there are 2 more. Blastoise's move is also, well, it's also rather insane. This giant turtle comes at you with like gatlings from its arms and back, shooting into you relentlessly. It slams you into a mountain with a ball of water, and then it freezes itself to ground itself, so it can just launch like the biggest hyper beam into your face, completely obliterating you. They had to deliver on the DLC, and I'm gonna have to say that this is probably an A tier, and I think that this is a very one-sided tier list, because honestly, I can't. Maybe by the end of this I'll move some of the other ones down, but right now everything is right where it deserves to be. Then finally, another really weird pick. This game did the best job of being like, hey, we know you want insert mainstream Pokemon here, but we're just gonna give you whatever we feel like. And so it gave us Aegislash, another thing that nobody was asking for, you know? And it's so interesting, again, like I mentioned, that it's interesting to see how Suicune fights as a quadrupedal. It's also interesting to see how Pokemon that like aren't quadrupedal or bipedal have to fight. So for its finishing move, it casts a giant old King's Shield. It then sends out a bunch of swords and spins them around. It then encompasses you, or it traps you in a giant boulder. There's all these metal gems everywhere, and then it picks itself up with a ghost hand and slices you in half inside that sphere. I mean, this is just crazy. This is just a crazy move, and I really love the idea that like its hands are non-corporeal, right? So like, yeah, it could totally pick itself up and wield itself as a sword and shield in order to just beat up its opponent. Aegislash is a very cool addition to this game, and because of that, it's another S tier. I'm sorry it's another S tier, but here it is, it's an S tier. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's every Pokken move ranked, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with my rankings. They really put a lot of effort into these Pokemon's moves and making making them work really well and look really cool, to the point that you want to get to your finishing moves so that you can actually use it in battle. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, ring the notification bell, and of course subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll check you in the next video. I should start playing Pokken.